Tim, this is Ed Easton Jr. from USA Today's Chiefs Wire. How are you?
Hey, brother, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Big event this weekend. Can you just give us your thoughts on the upcoming Invited Celebrity Classic golf tournament?
Oh, man, can't wait, man. Been waiting all year for this, you know what I mean? So, for another year, I should say, you know. I didn't get up to a good start last year and played a lot better on Sunday, so I'm hoping to pick it up from there, right? And play good all weekend.
I definitely understand that. And obviously this is kind of like a home advantage for you because you're from Texas. Do you think that's going to help a little bit?
Man, I want to say yes, but it never works out that way, brother. You know what I mean? You know, you would think, you know, I have many opportunities to go play that course, but just something about it when it becomes an official event, man, it seems like the course changes on you or something, you know, so, yeah, you know, there's a couple little places I know that maybe some of the guys won't know, but, you know, I guess it doesn't matter if you can hit the ball good, though.
No, that's definitely true, man. I understand. You know, obviously I got to talk about your amazing Hall of Fame career. You've caught over 1,000 passes. Not many people in the league have even come close to that mark. Are you surprised by today's game that even though there's more attempts, there's a lot more emphasis on the passing game, that there are more drops by today's receivers?
Not really, man. You know, you look at today, you know, they're even built differently than we were back in the day. You know, I mean, these guys are long arms and, you know, and taller guys, you know, for the most part. Yeah, we had Randy Moss, but, besides him, you know, most of our guys who were getting it done were 6 feet, 6'1". When you start talking about 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", man, that, you know, the range to reach out to catch a ball, it all changes and it makes a big difference. You know what I mean? I've always said that I think the perfect receiver size is like 6'1". You know what I mean? You know, because that guy has long enough arms to be able to make stuff happen, but not long enough arms that balls can be knocked down because his hands are so long. So, or his arms are so long. So I just think it makes a difference with, you know, these guys are getting more opportunities too. And, you know, maybe back in the day, our quarterbacks would have thrown certain passes because, like, no, that's not what we do. That's not happening in today's football. Ball is coming out, right? Mm-hmm. And so I just think, you know, you get put in a bad position with all these other things that I mentioned, and things can happen like that. Drops will happen.
Right, and obviously, like I said, you didn't drop many. You know, you caught a lot of passes, a lot of big ones. So, just talk about part of your career and what are the biggest rivalries in sports. Obviously, the Chiefs and the Raiders, and you played in many of those games. What do you believe made those matchups so special?
Oh, the hatred, brother. The pure, you know, bona fide, from the gut hatred. You know what I mean? For both teams, you know what I mean? There are not many games that after the game I didn't shake hands with people. Almost every time we played Kansas City, that never happened. You know, you just find a way to, like, yeah, I'll see him later on. I'll say hello to him. But, you know, you just didn't feel like it, man, because, you know, and we didn't have a very good record versus the Chiefs for a while. So it certainly made it even harder, you know, not to, you know, to be all nice and all that stuff after a game. But yeah, man, it's, the hatred between both teams, I think was the reason why, you know, those rivalries were so good.
I definitely hear that. And the fan bases, it continues on year by year.
Right.
But I do want to ask, obviously, those games that you did play at Arrowhead Stadium, and Arrowhead has this reputation for being one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. Did you ever feel that? Was it a different mood when you were at Kansas City during those games?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Look, I've said that I'm on record as saying this over the years, that I always thought that Kansas City had some of the smartest fans in the game. you know what I mean? Because they knew when to cheer, when not to cheer, and, you know, when something came on that board for everybody to get quiet, they all got quiet, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, at the same time, you know, when you look at that stadium, it's an old school stadium where they're pretty close to you, you know, and it's one of the only places that I played that I would tape up my ear hole on my helmet, you know, just to, you know, try and, you know, cut back on some of that noise that you would hear. So, no, I mean, look, that fan base is incredible, man. You know, they're getting rewarded for a whole bunch of work that the boys did back in the 80s and 90s and 2000s right now, because, you know, they deserve what they're getting, and it's a beautiful thing, you know, for it to happen. Now, at the same time, my Raider fans need some love too, right? So I'm hoping that our boys can certainly help us out.
Definitely hear that. And just a great part of I would say a great memory for Raiders fans and probably yourself. A lot of Chiefs fans want to forget. Back in 2001, you had the big punt return against the Chiefs, and I believe this was a time where you had kind of came back to the position, because usually you weren't the punt returner. There was a change, and you basically shocked the world by the way you just took off and had that big touchdown. Is there anything you remember from that moment?
Man, I remember not wanting to be back there. Yeah, I definitely remember that. You know, I think I started like 7th on the depth chart that year, and I saw guys week after week falling. Everybody's going down, and finally Gruden came to me and said, "Hey, man, you know, I'm going to need you to go back there." He said, "Look, don't worry about it. You know, just fair catch. I just need somebody that I can trust to be back there to catch the ball." And I was like, "Okay, I got you, Coach, no problem." So, you know, that was my plan, was to just fair catch it. And I did fair catch it, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And Randy Jordan came back, you know, yelling and screaming at me, "You better return this ball." I said, "Randy, if anybody touches me, you going to be fighting." So I went 89 yards untouched. So me and Randy Jordan are still friends today because of that play. So, but no, it was a play, man. And really, to be honest with you, man, I tell people, you know, at that stage of my career, becoming the oldest man in the history of the league to, you know, return a punt for a touchdown, you know, I think it sort of put me in a different light than just being a receiver. And you know, I think that certainly helped. You know, it didn't help me be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but certainly I think people had to consider that, you know, when they were looking at my Hall of Fame numbers.
Oh, no, definitely. And obviously a Heisman Trophy winner, just so much that you've done in your football career in general. I do want to ask you, obviously you brought up today's rivalry with the Chiefs and Raiders. Antonio Pierce, new head coach officially. How have you felt about his energy and even, you know, being so public to saying how he's going to stop Patrick Mahomes in the next coming years? Like, what are your thoughts on hearing Antonio Pierce being so bold and wanting to really continue the Raider legacy?
Yeah, you know, I think, man, you know, if he had, I was saying during the year when he took over, if they like it, I love it, right? And it seems like the boys love it, so I love it even more, you know what I mean? Because they're feeding off his energy, they're playing hard, good, tough football. Doesn't mean they're going to win every football game, but man, there's nothing like seeing your team compete right down to the last second, man. And I think even the games they lost, you saw that happen. You saw them compete like nobody's business, man. And that's what this thing is all about, man. You know, that's what you want to see. You want to see, you know, the team is getting better. The team is working hard. They're trying. They're making all this money, but, you know, hey, they're laying it on the line, you know. So I think those things mean a lot to a fan base. And obviously it meant a lot to Mark Davis for him to retain AP. And, you know, I think the future is bright. You know, I don't have a problem with him at all. You know, I think he probably thinks he has a secret. He did go in Kansas City and beat Kansas City on Christmas Day. So, talk that talk, brother. Just back it up. I'm all good with it.
I definitely hear that. And, Tim, I have one more question for you, man. Is there any advice for a lot of the young receivers that are coming out in the draft might help them?
Man, you know, look, these guys are so talented, man, and, you know, they come into the league, you know, totally different than the way we came. They come in very polished, and and ready to roll. But I think the thing that really separated me and a lot of the great receivers from the rest is the film study that we put in. And knowing your opponent better than he knows himself, knowing exactly what he's going to do on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 8, or 3rd and 10, all these different things, you watch enough film on him that that he's going to drop with his left foot and then try to hit you with his right hand. You know all these little things about him that makes it very comfortable for you to go out and play the game. And I don't know if a lot of kids really, I'm watching film sometime and watching games sometime and I say, he didn't watch film. It's like you can tell the way he ran that route on that particular. You didn't know exactly what he was going to do. You knew he was going to be on you. You're the number one guy. But so I just think that part of the game probably goes overlooked at this particular point. But I think it's a huge part of being very successful in the football field.
I definitely hear that. Tim, thank you so much for your time. And good luck this weekend, man, on the big golf tournament.
Thank you, brother. Looking forward to it.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.